I know we don't know.
Okay, direct object pronouns.
Yeah, we can't lie.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to move my slide. I thought it was. Direct object pronouns. Oh, it's not even plugged in? Oh, okay, I can hold it then. Direct object pronouns are the nouns that receive the action caused by the subject. These words are used to take the place of a noun that is repeated often in a certain set of thoughts. In English, the direct object pronouns is me, you, it, him, her, or us. In Spanish, the DOPs, or direct object pronouns, I forgot them, but and them, are used for the same reason, but the sentence structure is different from English. The Spanish DOPs are me, te, or me, te, lo, la, los, las, and those.
Okay. And then if you see the question there, we use DOPs a lot for answering questions. We only really use them for rewriting, restating something that's already been said. So we did it the easier way, but we do use it with questions a lot to answer a question instead of saying the whole entire question over again. Yes, I play the guitar, or I have the guitar. You would just say, yes, I have it. So it's used in questions a lot. Okay.
All right, so an example in English is my mother cooks the lobster. So what is the word that receives the action?
Lobster.
Okay, and what action is it receiving?
Cook.
All right, so that means that the lobster is the direct pronoun. So my mother cooks the lobster can be written as my mother cooks it, because the lobster can be replaced with the word it.
Okay, in Spanish, the direct object is placed in front of the action being done. My mother cooks the lobster is mi madre cocina la langosta. To change langosta to a DOP, you first must identify two things. What is the gender, and is it plural? La langosta is a singular feminine word, so you need to use the word appropriate for it.
So conjugation boxes are what everyone's familiar with in this class. And if your direct object, if the word that's receiving the action has to do with you, then you use the word me. If it's dealing with you informally, then you use the word te. If it's he, she, or it in a singular form, that's the only way you can, then you would use lo or la. And this one is dependent on gender. Okay? So if you're dealing with a feminine word, then you will use la. If you're dealing with a masculine word, then you'll use lo. If the direct object pronoun is supposed to be us in English, then you'll use nos in Spanish. And same thing for this, them or they, not just them. Then it depends once again on masculine or feminine form.
Keep in mind that we do put the direct object pronouns in the conjugation box like we normally see it. But you're looking at it from a different standpoint. This has nothing to do with your subject. And we're used to looking at our conjugation box from the subject standpoint, making it agree with the verb. Your verb and subject always agree no matter what. Here, we're now looking at it from a different perspective, and direct object pronouns are replacing the object receiving the action. So the reason why we don't use the top three the most, or we use the bottom two the most, the mete and nos would have to mean that I, you, or we are receiving the action. We're not normally receiving the action. So it's normally something singular that is feminine or masculine, or something plural that's feminine or masculine that's receiving the action. That's why we use the bottom ones the most. Does that make sense? So not looking at the subject at all, looking at the object, which we normally find after the verb, to replace it with a direct object pronoun. Okay?
Because la langosta is a singular feminine word, you use the article la. Mi madre cocina la langosta actually goes to mi madre la cocina, because whenever you conjugate the word, la has to go before your action. In Spanish, when DOPs is used, it will go before the action that the subject causes.
Okay, so if you have one verb, you put it before the verb. If you have two verbs, it gets attached at the end of the second verb. Technically here, we could even shorten the mi madre la cocina to just la cocina. I already know who's doing it because the verb tells me who's doing it, and then I know who's receiving it, or what is receiving it, or who or what is receiving the action of being cooked. That goes before the verb. So la cocina, even though that would actually look like a separate word, every now and then we run into issues like this. La cocina also means the kitchen. But you would know from context of conversation that you're talking about somebody singular cooking it, something feminine in this case. Okay?
Okay, these are some examples. The first one is Henry eats the hamburger.
So, being as it translates to Henry come la hamburguesa, then la, well, it's a feminine word that's taking the action of eating. So,
it goes to Henry la come.
The second example is she has the papers.
and the papers translates to los papeles, which is a plural masculine word.
And then their final conjugation was definitely was tiene.
And if you want to put the subject, that's fine. You don't need it.
Okay, so it could also be los tiene then?
Los tiene. Tiene, and again, the los and tiene have nothing to do with each other. Tiene is talking about she having, she's doing the having, and then what's receiving, what's being had are the papers. So one is receiving the action, was doing the action. Los and tiene, people want to make those two things agree. They don't. They have nothing to do with each other. Okay?
Okay, the last one is Katie understands us.
And being as us has no translation such as hamburger or papers, it just directly goes to the direct object pronoun of nos, then that is how you would write that sentence.
All right. Then we have a few more examples. What I did for you to make your life easier is I put all of this in order by topic, by class, so you can not only see what this class did, but you can see what other classes have done for these midterm presentation projects. And so if you scroll almost all the way down, you see the midterm graphic organizer that tells you, or advanced organizer that tells you everything that's on the midterm. I gave you the link to all the videos that have been done by previous student presentations because they wanted to record theirs and put it up on YouTube, so it's there for you. Here's everything that's going to be on your midterm. And what I did is I took everything that's been done yesterday and I put everything on my website here. Here's the first topic. Here's what's been done. And so the first couple of things will be from first period, and then the next same topic. I just uploaded everything from other periods if you want to check out what they've done as well, if you need extra practice on anything. So for DOPs, here's the presentation that I also uploaded to your Edmodo. But on here are the examples that Donnie just sent me this morning. I went ahead and uploaded them to the website, so we have it all in one place, all nice, neatly arranged by topic, so that you can go back and look at it. So use it. It's there for you as a reference. Okay.
And for this one, there's like 20 examples, but that's just for you to look over if you need it. So just like do 1 through 10.
Or we can just do evens. Let's do evens.
Okay, let's do evens, guys.
So if we're doing Sarah covered her son, they gave you the English translation, and then they give you the Spanish, or the Spanish translation. Sara cubrió su hijo. Who or what's being covered? The sun. So the sun is going to go away. That whole entire thing is going to disappear. You do not write that back on there. It gets replaced by a DOP. Which DOP would we replace it with? Lo. And then if we have one verb, where would we put it? Before the verb. If we have two verbs, we attach it at the end of the second one. So the placement is the same as reflexive pronouns, but direct object pronouns just have a different purpose. Reflexive pronouns talk about something that the subject is doing that's reflected back to themselves, whatever the subject is. Direct object pronouns are replacing the object with a direct object pronoun. So what would it be? She covered him would be what? Lo cubrió. Good. Okay. Let's do 4. I broke the camera. Oh, we don't know the one or the verb to break. So let's skip. Let's do, we should know, yeah, we do, romper. Okay, I was thinking of a different verb. Okay, so the verb romper in the past tense for I broke. Romper is the verb. Conjugate it in the yo form in the past tense, since it's broke instead of break. Rompi, accent on the I. And then what's being broken? The camera. And so camera in Spanish actually happens to be a cognate, so it's a feminine singular camera. So I broke it would be la rompí. That's it. Yep. Okay. Let's see. We got lots of examples. How about you guys pick? Instead of doing, we'll do 2 more, and then you can go back and look at any of these as extra practice.
And there's a sheet on the bottom if you download it that has the answers on it. So you
Okay.
can compare them.
So there we go. So we have. How about this? I'm going to let you guys just do this on your own, since we have the rest of the presentations to go through. He's got all the questions on top, and then you can double check, self-check yourself with the answers on the bottom. Okay, so if we were doing, for example, I practiced a lesson many times. Well, many times is extra information. I don't need that when I'm restating something. So I practiced, that's for me, conjugated for the O form, I practiced them referring to the lessons. So that would be, all you need is this DOP and the verb. Okay. Questions?